Hello, Shamna Lea here from Goddess Creations, coming live to share with you part of my five-step Lotus system, where where I take you on a journey through coaching, let's say, as to how you can become more embodied and connected with your own inner goddess. Well, let me just see if I am actually live and if you all can see me. Yes, I believe that is so. That is great. If you have any questions, I would like to ask you, or if you want to comment, feel free. Just when you will leave a comment, there is a sign underneath saying around this video saying, click StreamYard to let them know who you are. Then I can see who you are and answer accordingly. So I'm sharing today about, once again, as I did last week. Last week I gave you the introduction of the five-step Lotus system, and I'm just going to walk you through that again. And today I'm going to expand some more on the first step, which is the sow your seed. So the five-step Lotus system is actually the procedure that I take you through when you come to me. Now, who are you? I will repeat again. I am looking for, or I serve, or I help the woman who is, I wouldn't say workaholic, but she is very much a hard working woman. So she is the a driven woman who is always serving others and is suffering from long-term health challenges. Now that could be something chronic, like I have multiple sclerosis. Even though I am not suffering from multiple sclerosis, but I do have it. Me having multiple sclerosis does not mean that it determines my life. That is a key element in what I share. So I'm looking for the driven woman who has a long-term health challenge, suffering from long-term health issues. It could be sleeplessness. It could be anxiety at night. It could be bowel problems, stomach problems. It could be skin issues. It could be anything. And she is suffering with that for a long time. And this woman would love to change her situation, to find peace within, not have it all up in her head, and to actually come to that feeling of, I have a balanced life. I feel more healthy. So I help that driven woman to release the anxiety and to have a healthier lifestyle, to let her inner goddess shine. So that is what I do. That is something that I'm driven to do. Let me share a bit about myself because I remember that someone told me the other day, I would like to know about you. So I am Shamna Lea, and I used to be a financial manager. I I was a workaholic. I have a past where I had an early youth trauma. Now, looking back, it wasn't only youth trauma, but also as a child trauma. Now, trauma can be in many ways. It could be a physical, it could be an emotional, it could be mental, it could be that you are feel shut down. I know that I myself suffered a trauma when we were as a family were uprooted, let's say, and moved to the Netherlands for employment. That's something that a little child of about 5, almost 6, does not quite understand. All she knows is that she is leaving the safety of her environment from the past, and that is uprooting her and placing her in a situation where she has to start all over again is, well, due to my color, an exception, and doesn't speak the language, starts all over again. Not only that, but I have a half brother and I left him behind in England with his mum. And that to me was very traumatic because I really looked up to my brother. Now, this is not me feeling sorry for myself, but there are many traumas that you can have as a child that can be physical. It could be abuse, it could be mental, it could be that you were beaten. It could also be that you have suffered pain in the love situation. You may not know it cognitively, but your body has stored it. Now, for myself, just as I'm sharing a little bit about myself, I stored that pain and also the other pains that came later. I stored that pain in my body. I did not feel seen or heard or valued. I felt invisible, which made my my body create an armor about me, and that armor protected me and my vulnerability behind the scenes, but it shut me off from emotions on the outside, and also shut certain functions in my body down. So and I, because of that shutdown, that disconnect with soul, with self, I worked harder and harder to want to feel love. You may or may not recognize this. It doesn't matter, but for me, that is the type of woman I am here to serve. The driven woman who is always serving others, who is suffering from a feeling of anxiousness, let's say, and long term health issues, and who would like to have peace and a healthier lifestyle to let her inner goddess shine. So, how do I do this? Well, I have, I am a coach, and I coach, and I love serving women. I love serving women in helping them to release their anxieties and feel more in their body and more love for themselves and for the other. It's when I hold a retreat, it's so wonderful to see that transformation that can happen in just a few days, and how that connection with other is so needed. Let me get to the point then. The 5-step Lotus system is the are the basic steps that I have created for in my coaching. And it is, I'm just going to go through it speedily, let's say. The first step is after the intake call, and I'll get back to that in a moment, is sow your seed. So the first step, let me just, there I am chatting, I'm forgetting all these banners that I prepared. Isn't that funny? So the first step of the, here we go, 5-step Lotus system is sow your seed. So your seed is taking the lotus that you can see behind me, taking this lotus as an example. It is, what is it that you are wanting to put into the ground? What type of seed have you got? Is it an apple? Is it an orange? Is it a pear? Do you want to have an acorn, an oak tree? What type of seed are you putting in the ground? What needs to be peeled for that? What needs to be cracked open before that seed can come into fruition? So sow your seed is putting that intention, putting that seed into the ground, surrendering it to the process. Now, hear me, surrendering it to the process. I will get back to that when I share more on sow your seed. The second step is ground your crown. Ground your crown means that if you visualize it, it's like that seed has now burst open and is starting to get those roots connecting it, making it more grounded, but also that your all of your senses that are going out there sharing or whatever, hey, let's bring your attention back within. Let's make that anchor strong so that if you do want to share and connect with others, you are doing it from an anchored space. The third step is dream your desires. So now that going back to the lotus imagery, you have that once that anchor is made, the seed starts to reach up, starts to grow, starts to elongate, starts to get, those side leaves. It's starting to express itself. This is where creativity comes in, and where your interests in other things come in, but also your emotions. What is it that you want? This is where that part comes in dream your desires. With the fourth step, voice your value, we are talking about your authenticity, your truth, your value, and also, how do you express yourself? How do you make yourself seen? Many of us who already fit the description of this workaholic woman who is suffering from actually doing too much and suffering physically for it. This woman already sees herself as the queen. I don't need nobody. I am in control. I have got this covered. So she has that crown on her head already. And that is fine. But if you haven't anchored well, if you haven't created that stem to be strong, that crown will topple. So this process is letting the grounding, the rooting of that seed be solid so that you have something to hold on to, so that your crown will stay put and so you can wear it within the glorious energy of yourself. Now, this is all very metaphoric, with regards to the lotus, let's go back to the lotus imagery. This is where the flower blooms and opens up and shows her beauty to the world. This is where she expresses herself. But also, these are my boundaries. This is my turf, and you can go until here and no further. But you'll be doing it from self-love, and not from the sense of having judgment anymore. You have done quite a bit of process. Now, these are the general lines. The fifth one is heal your heart. Heal your heart is when, after you've done all of this, and it's not necessarily in sequence because it is a cyclic thing, all of these steps can already be happening in the first session, depending on the subject. And it can be deepened and broadened during the various sessions. But this is the basic setup of the sessions. Heal your heart is where you can enter into that softness, where you hear that, can breathe. This is where you can allow. This is where you enter the forgiveness and the compassion and the self-love even more. And it depends on your situation. Every person's situation is individual, and I will get back to that. So this 5-step lotus system is what the basic steps that I take you on this journey. So what are we then actually talking about? So let me just remove this. What are we then just talking about? So we are talking about these five steps. Sow your seed, ground your crown, dream your dreams, voice your value, and heal your heart. I will be taking you in my coaching series at the moment in a 13-week model. 13 weeks we are journeying together. Here's the beautiful thing. It starts from the moment we have our first introductory call. So let's move to the introductory call. What is then in that introductory call? Because what does it mean? What happens? How do you get there? Well, this 13-week model is, as I said, it's the first time I'm doing it in this way, and because it is that, I am offering it to 7 courageous women who would like to try it out. Now, trying out doesn't mean, let me dabble in and dabble out. No, these women do want to improve their life, improve their health, want to change something significantly. Now, this model is in the test form, let's say. So we are talking about sorry, I got distracted. So this test model is going through these steps, and it starts with the introduction. In these 13 weeks, I am taking you on this journey, and I am offering it to you for a fraction of its value. And let's just say already in the introduction, you're already getting the value of the price that you can pay for these first 7 women. So I'll get back to that later. What happens in the first step of Sow Your Seed? Now, sow your seed is the first step. As I said, you have sow your seed, ground your crown, dream your desires, voice your value, and heal your heart. Sow your seed is where we actually continue on from the introduction. So with the one-on-one introduction, it's an extensive introduction that we have. So when you book your call with me, and I'm just going to share this interview with you right now, just in case you want to see it again later on, you can book that call with me just to find out whether you and I are a match, whether I can serve you, whether you do have the situation that I might be able to help you with. And you know what? Let's find out together. Don't say that you might not have it. Really, you might just want peace. You might just say, hey, at the end of the year, I want to have better health. Let's see where this energy comes from. If you close it off beforehand, you can't step through. If you close the door beforehand, you can't step through and nothing changes. If you want to change something, you got to take a step. And if it's not costing you anything, the introductory calls cost nothing, that's beautiful. You can have that introductory call by sending me an email at info@goddesscreations.nl. And in my newsletter, and here is the link to my newsletter, in my newsletter, there is also more information on that. http://eepurl.com/HBA_H5. So this is the link to the newsletter if you are so interested. So in Sow Your Seed, as I said, we are working with and continuing on with what we have discussed in the introductory call. So the introductory call is not a quick 15-minute chat. It could be. If you immediately know that you're not interested, then fine, we don't need to continue further. But the beautiful thing about this introductory call is that we both take the time to get to know each other better. So in this introductory call, I am asking you questions. I am asking you questions so that I can hear what it is, so that you can also relax and connect with me past the mask of the mind. So past that, past the helmet, your first protection layer. This call is long enough so that you can relax and leave the mental chatter out and sink into your body and find out what it is you are actually feeling, what it is you actually want. That's the whole point. I will be asking you questions, I will be listening, and everything we share is confidential. Let me make that very, very clear. This could be a live sessions if you live in the Netherlands and near where I live, or it could be online, which is, depending on where you live, more evident, let's say. So it could be live or it could be online. Now, in that intake call, as I said, I'm asking you many questions. And what happens to you is that through these questions, you are being stimulated to think about various areas in your life. Memories come up, thoughts come up. Hang on a sec, this might be so, oh, that might be so, oh, by the way. It could be anything. And I will be taking notes. And at the end, I will also be on, of course, I'm asking, what do you think of the conversation? It's not just me just dragging things out of you. No way. It is a comfortable conversation where we are getting to know each other, if you so choose. And then, of course, I ask, so what did you think of the conversation? Would you like to continue with me further? And then but of course, before that, I share part of the 5-step Lotus-System, which of course I am sharing with you now as to how we are setting it up in those 13 weeks, how we're going to be connecting with each other in those 13 weeks. So, and then of course, it is the commitment to, do you commit yourself to those 13 weeks of diving deep on whatever that issue may be. You may not have your questions set, of course, in the introductory call, because that's not what it's about. But in Sow Your Seed, you have already had the time between the introductory call and Sow Your Seed. You have had time to think and feel, and things have already been activated in you. Thoughts have already been triggered, let's say. And for me, the journey, and for you, the healing process has actually already started, because the first step of healing is awareness. You have to know what is going on in your body. And with Sow Your Seed, we then set the intention. What is it you want? What is it you don't want? What are you leaving behind? Where does this seed come from? Where do you come from? All of these questions have or may have been asked in the introductory call, but we are working further with it. And you will also already got a clarity for yourself as to, what you would like to be working on in those 13 weeks. What is your main subject that you would like to work on with regards to your health, or with regards to your emotions, or with regards to, your food or your dietary, or whatever it may be. I'm not filling that in, because to each of you, it is individual. So with that, we are then going deeper. We are setting intention. And actually, with that intention, you are putting that seed in the ground. It will take time. It's going into the dark, and I'm making it visual so that you can see in your mind's eye what I mean. You are going into the dark. You don't know exactly how you will react. It could easily be that you could get irritated or agitated by any of the changes in your body that might be happening due to the conversation. Know this, it is very normal to have this effect because, as with that seed, it has to crack open for it to have be able to get those roots shooting down. So to create life, part has to be let go of. And this is what will happen or could happen. Let's think about the butterfly. The butterfly, or let's say the caterpillar, has eaten all that it needs to and it's become fatter and fatter. And then it spins a cocoon around itself and goes into that darkness, that silence. And in that silence, it becomes mush. It becomes a substance that, isn't solid. The heart does beat. And from there on, it rebuilds itself to become the beautiful butterfly after it's cracked open. That is part of the process also for the seed. It's the process actually of nature. And something that we as humans don't always allow. So with Sow Your Seed, we are setting the intention and we are already making the first steps as to what it is you desire. And we are going to be working on that actively, and not like active like work, no, but we are going to be taking steps with that actively. I will be giving you a little bit of homework to take home and to do various things. There is the creative side and there is a spiritual side. And spiritual, I don't necessarily mean God, goddess, but I mean with your whole body, with all your intention, tapping into your energy. Because I strongly believe that with your intention, you can heal your life. That's why my company is called Goddess Creations. You can heal your life. So, Sow Your Seed is that. It is the first step, setting your intention, putting that seed into your ground, doing the surrendering, let's say. And then you have to trust the process. You have to trust that all will be well. And it might seem a bit uncomfortable in the beginning, but know that change will come, that it will become better. And I am very excited. I just love the fact I had one of the calls this week with a lovely lady, and it was just beautiful to see how um, where she had her armor to start with on the call, and how soft and beautiful her energy was by the end of that 1.5 hours. I think it was 1.5 hours. And that is it. Each call is around that time, 1.5 hours, because I'm taking the time to go with you through the various steps, to let you be you. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not going to be nodding, going, That's not my style. I get to the point because that's the way I can be of service to you. So if you are interested, next week I'm going to be sharing more on the 5-step system. I'm going to be sharing about ground your crown. But for now, this was Sow Your Seed, which is the intention setting side of things, where from where on you can then start the process. And in that in between time, you are already working on, and work is a very soft word. It's not hard work, it's feeling in, doing, building a muscle, let's say, through repetition. So especially that, the repetition is necessary. So Ground Your Crown is what I'll be sharing with you next week. And I look forward to connecting with you. If you do recognize yourself in this, Dutch or English, dus als je jezelf hierin herkent, I'm sorry that all of this was Dutch, but als je jezelf in, all of this was English, sorry. Als je jezelf hierin herkent, neem contact met mij op. Want ik ben er ook voor jou. I'm here also for you. info@goddesscreations.nl is where you can email me or you can send me a private message to book that call with me. And you can sign up to my newsletter to get more information. So in a summary, what does Sow Your Seed do? It gives you, we are talking about intention setting in Sow Your Seed. You get clarity in the steps of Sow Your Seed. You have commitment. Your intention is the commitment. And it has not like I'm telling you as a teacher, no, you from your inside feel the commitment. Part of this, of course, means that you have to have the willingness to learn and to change. You have to be willing, because what's the point? Why would you do it? Why would you waste your time for those 13 weeks? Isn't that a shame? No, but you have to have the willingness to improve your health situation and to change. And to learn sounds like that you have to learn something. No, it's more like that you can um, create new habits. That is actually what it's about. And then and then it's an interactive thing between you and myself. It's not me just doing the talking, and it's not you just doing all the work. We're doing this together. I am holding your hand, taking you on your journey for those 13 weeks. I am looking forward to doing this with you, lovely lady. Even if you feel just the slightest bit of interest, take that step. Take that step. Be courageous. Because as Thich Nhat says, no mud, no lotus. And you've got to go deep to be able to have that, to release the beautiful you. So this is me from Shamna Lea Gray from Goddess Creations, and I am wishing you a lovely day. I'm wishing you a lovely day and a lovely courageous time. And I would like you to, once again, to reach out to me if you would like more information, because I'm looking for those um, those 7 driven women who are maybe feeling anxious and worrying about struggling with their health situations with regard to a long-term situation, and who would like to change their life, find peace, and embrace a healthier lifestyle. So that's me for now. And let's release the goddess within. Let's let our inner goddess shine. I will see you next time, next week. If you have any questions, please post them here with the video. I will answer them for you. And otherwise, reach out to me so we can have that call. Have a lovely day. Shamna Lea. Bye.